let us understand the meaning of planning. Well, if you happen to understand, planning is the first, foremost, basic step of any organization. So, in order to achieve any task, the first thing what you do, the basic thing what you do, you plan for it. So, planning is basically the first step or first or foremost or the basic step of any organization, any functions of the organization. There is a very nice saying, if you fail to plan, then rest assured you are planning for failure. So yes, any organization's basic, the first foremost function is planning. In simple word, what is planning then? Planning is deciding in advance what are the functions to be done, what are the activities to be done. Well, in order to decide things what are to be done, now there is a natural process. It's an intellectual process. What do you mean by intellectual process? With good amount of thinking, visualization, understanding, okay, what can happen, what cannot happen. That process is called as intellectual thinking. So for planning, intellectual thinking is required with lot of logical thinking and rational decision making. Let us take an example, right? How the whole planning is an intellectual process and how a lot of logical thinking and rational decision makings are needed in order to set the plan in the direction of achieving organization's objective. Let's say I'll give you one example. I have a marketing person who has a sales target of achieving, 200 crores of turnover in next 2 years. So once it has an objective, what will he do? He'll start going into room and room, house and house, place and place and start selling? No. He'll first sit and visualize that, okay, how am I going to do marketing? So if I want to do marketing, I'll also think, how many marketing people do I need? How should I do advertisement? How will be money circulation? How will be the branding of the product? So all activities will be visualized first. So before doing, what am I doing? So achieving 100 crores targets in 2 years, I'm not directly starting. I'm first sitting and visualizing. For that, I need to have logical thinking. So let's say, how do you do logical thinking? A simple commonsensical example, little haphazard one, but yes, it's tried to show you some logic. Let's say 200 crores. And there are around, 25 states for simpler calculations. So per state, I think 8 crore turnover. In every state, there are 40 districts. Almost on an average, 40 districts. So per district, around 20 lakhs. 20 lakhs of turnover. So in a district, if I want to have a 20 lakh of turnovers, how many sales campaign, sales months I need to keep? Now simple logical thinking and rational decision making. So based on statistics, okay, one person handle this much amount of sales in a year, that I understand. So how much salary I should give and all sort of things are naturally clear with me. So now I'm ready with the plan. So do you understand what? So for any objective to be achieved, well, there has to be planning, the first basic step. So what we do in planning? We try to fix out what are the steps to be taken in advance for achieving the organization's objective. Well, any function performed by the organization is based on the planning. So once that marketing person decided, okay, we need to hire 20 people, now the hiring or staffing activity will start for those 20 people. So any functions performed by the organizations are based on planning. Well, planning helps in setting the objectives of the organization in the direction of achieving of the organization's goal. And they decide the future course of action, what they have to do. So in simple word, understand, once I know I have to have 200 crores of turnover, now my objective is clear. So now I know how much sales each salesman should do. So my objective has been defined even at a salesman level. In simple word, planning is a program, a detailed program for the future course of action of the organization. If proper planning is backed up with proper implementation, then organization's goals are achieved nicely. In simple word, what do you mean by planning? Well, planning is the first basic step any organization performs. Every functions of the management or organization is based on planning. With planning, we try to decide in advance what are the steps to be taken in order to achieve organization's objective. Well, planning, as we all know, is an intellectual process where a lot of thinking is required, a logical thinking and a rational decision making is required. Planning is directed towards achieving organization's objective. Well, with proper planning and better implementation, the organization's objectives are achieved. In simple word, planning is a detailed program for the future course of action of any organization.